Good morning, Razorback fans, and welcome in to the Inside Arkansas Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag. I'm Curtis Wilkerson with the Pot at the Palace, and here's the way this works. You ask me an Arkansas basketball-related question, and I answer it, no matter what it is about, players, scheduling, Coach Cal, recruiting, whatever. If it's Arkansas basketball-related, we're going to get to it, and we post one of these every single day with the goal of making it all the way up until the start of the season that we're all very, very excited about. The John Calipari area is getting ready to begin. We have a nice question here today to get us going from Mike Davis. He says, who is going to establish themselves as the leaders of this team? And that's a really good question. It's an important question because what is Arkansas dealing with here? You got a new coach in a new place with a brand new team. And I understand he's bringing some guys over with him. And Trevin Brazil's back. He's familiar with Arkansas, but you really need some guys to emerge and be voices and be leaders of the team. From the sounds of it, that's already kind of happening, which is a good thing. It's a very good thing. I'm going to go with Nelly Davis. I think he's going to be the team leader. It sounds like he's already kind of accepting and stepping into that role. And if you think about it, it only makes sense. I mean, we're talking about a guy here who was a big piece on a Final Four team. So he's kind of been where all these guys want to go and where they want to get to. He's kind of done that. So he understands what it takes. Those FAU teams, they were maybe not as talented as every team in the country, but boy, they were together and they played well together. They were one unit. And so he kind of understands not just what you have to do on the court, but what you have to do off the floor. And just what it takes to get to that pinnacle of college basketball. And that's a good thing. What are some of the qualities that you look for in a leader? I think one of them is, how do you mentor the young guys? How do you bring them along? Well, no better way to find out than to hear from one of them. This is what Boogie Flan had to say about Nelly Davis in a recent press conference.
Well, for me, he's been like a big brother to me. Like you said, he's been in the Final Four. So just showing me the way. And, showing me how to, go out there and just do me. And the physicality, like you said, or like he said, the physicality is different, and you're going to have to play through some bumps. And there's going to be ups and downs, but as long as you look past that and, get through it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, what's one of the biggest adjustments that you have to make as a freshman? It's usually adjusting to the speed of the game or the physicality of the game. Nelly Davis, grown man strength. The senior's probably been beating up on the freshmen a little bit in practice, but bringing them along, toughening them up, getting them ready for the SEC slate, because he's going to be such a big contributor to this team. He has to be if Arkansas is going to make it to where they want to make it. So you check that box off. What else? Leading by example, I think, is another one that's really important. There's a lot of guys who want to be the voice, right? And want to have the clout and want to have the ear of the team. But if you're not leading by example, people aren't going to respect that. And I think that's something that Arkansas was missing at times in the last year or two, where you had a bunch of voices in the room, but nobody who was really that leader, nobody who was proven it, nobody who had really earned it necessarily. With Nelly Davis, from the sounds of it, he's kind of setting the tone of what you need from that position. As a coach, you always want your best player to be your hardest worker, right? If you have that, you usually have a pretty good foundation laid. So here's what Adu Thiero had to say about, Nelly Davis kind of leading as example.
That on the court, he's a great leader. He comes in, sets the tone, shows us, you got to be in the gym every day. He has a great work ethic, and try and follow after him. We call him Unk because, he's the Unk of the team. But off the court even, too, he was just telling us about how connected you have to be as a team to make it that far in March or, late April. But we just try and, listen to that, build our team chemistry together, build that brotherhood.
All right. I mean, they're laughing at my man Nelly, calling him Unk here, but who was the last Unk at Arkansas? Who was the last person they called that? It was Trey Wade. You want to talk about a leader by example and somebody that had the voice of the room, and he wasn't Arkansas's best player, but he worked his tail off, and people respected him. They listened to him. And that's exactly what we're seeing here from Nelly Davis. So I think that's a really, really good thing. Your most experienced player, your most proven player, he's going to be your go-to guy, and he's doing it on and off the court. That's exactly what you're looking for, and they need that to carry over, but it's a good start. here early on for this Razorback roster. But who else? Because you'd like to have more than one voice, more than one guy that players can turn to, that players can listen to in times of adversity. Who's going to really step up there? I mean, I look at a guy like Johnnie-O, right? I mean, we're talking about a senior, so another very experienced player. He's got several years of SEC play under his belt, so ain't nothing going to surprise him in this league. And then he was a game away from a Final Four. He took Tennessee to the Elite Eight last season. He could certainly be a voice and a guy who can impart some wisdom on some of these youngsters on the roster. I really like that addition for Arkansas. You talk about a 1-2 punch on the court from backcourt to front court with Nelly and Jonas-Adu. Could be that in a leadership role too. And then, you know, when you have a new coaching staff, it's always nice to have a little bit of continuity with him. Now, he brought several assistant coaches over, so there's familiarity there, but he also brought some players over with him. And so who are those guys who can kind of be voices who said, hey, this is, you know, when Coach Cal says this is what he's talking about. Hey, this is kind of the expectation under Cal. We've been through this. We understand it. Listen to us. And so you look at the three guys who come over. Adut Thiero stands out. I mean, he's in his third season under Coach Cal there. So he's probably a guy who pretty much understands everything that's going on with the inner workings of the coaching staff and the system and the schemes and the foundation and the culture and everything that they believe in there. DJ Wagner would be another one. He's in his second year. You always like your point guard to kind of be that vocal, you know, that voice maybe on the floor, extension of the coaching staff, right? Well, he was put into the fire as a true freshman last year, had his ups and downs, took his lumps, but he averaged 10 points per game and 3.5 assists per game. And he's back for a sophomore season. So a lot of experience there under Cal too. So yeah, it sounds like Nelly Davis is the guy who's kind of emerging there. But I do think you have some other good options on this team in terms of leadership. Really, I think that should be kind of a strength of this roster. Now, you never know until adversity kind of hits, right? I mean, if they start losing some games, how do people react? How do they respond? Time will have to tell on that front, but going into this thing, I think they're in a good position from a leadership standpoint. So a good question, Mike. I definitely appreciate that one and appreciate everybody who's been throwing these questions in there. If you have any and you want to get involved, go check out my profile on X. It's at Kurt Wilkerson _. I've got a pinned thread at the top of my profile there. Throw a question in, whatever you got, that works. If you watch these videos on YouTube, you can get in the comments and put a question in there. Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email from our website, InsideArkansas.com. Anywhere you can get a question to me, do that. I'll see it, and I'll eventually get to it. Like I said, we're trying to get one of these a day up until the start of the college basketball season. We post them about 8 o'clock every morning. We got our own playlist, the Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag. So make sure you get subscribed to our YouTube page, Inside Arkansas, so you can keep up with those on the daily. But I'm going to get out of here. And I'll be back in the morning because we got plenty more of these to get to. Appreciate everybody. As always, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas at the Pot at the Palace. Everybody have a good day. We'll see you soon.